Hello, my name is Franz. I'm with Portland Labs. We are the company behind concrete5. Concrete5 was invented many years ago because we found that the tools we had for letting a client edit their website were really hard to use. We were delivering these projects where the client had bought into the vision of the web being this great equalizing medium and a platform that anyone could use to express themselves. And we found that by the time we actually got to training and handing off the project, we had built kind of a custom machine that met the requirements of the project proposal, but often was really inflexible, couldn't really change with new ideas that the client had. Everything was built around this kind of front-end versus back-end architecture, where when you saw something you wanted to change, you had to jump over and figure out where to change it in a dashboard or a control panel. And it was just really counterintuitive for folks, and it made their websites more of a problem, a thing that they had to deal with, as opposed to a tool that they could use to express themselves. So we invented concrete5. And the model really, to us, was it should be as easy to use as a word processor. If you see a typo on a page, you should be able to fix it. And no one trains you how to do that in a word processor. You just move the cursor and type. And we wanted at least a basic level of entry to be that universal for anyone. With a few minutes, maybe watching a couple of videos online, you should be able to add a page to your site, change some stuff around. It should be very easy to use. But as a full-service interactive media shop, we weren't willing to sacrifice things that developers want. We wanted a nice object-oriented, clear code approach. We wanted to be able to override the core and still upgrade later. Everything that we do is about this balance between what a site owner needs, an easy editing experience that grows with them, and what a site developer needs, a nice flexible tool base that stands the test of time. So we built concrete5. It is a middleware-based CMS, runs in PHP and MySQL, very common languages. It is free and open source under the MIT license, so that means you can do anything that you want with it. You can rebrand it, you can sell it. There are no limitations to what you can do. It was built around the idea of in-context editing from the ground up, and it has become the fourth largest CMS and is used by all of these brands and many more for parts or all of their website. Portland Labs, the company behind concrete5, is a privately held, profitable company. It's never raised venture capital or investment, nor do we have plans to do so. The people at Portland Labs are passionate about computers being a communication tool, and working on concrete5 lets us pursue that passion. Our revenue is split between different sources. We have a marketplace of add-ons and themes that lend themselves well towards the DIY builder market. We take a cut of sales from that marketplace. We offer hosting and enterprise service level agreements. So if you're a larger organization and you want to know that you can have an expert at your beck and call if something goes wrong, or just have best of breed hosting platforms, you can do that with us. We have some enterprise tools that extend concrete5. Now these aren't a separate version of concrete5. Sometimes in open source there'll be kind of the awesome expensive version and the not so awesome free one. That's not how we've done it. These are just add-ons that you can put on top of the same free core that you can get from concrete5.org. And they give you things that larger organizations need, like multiple step workflow. If you need to have legal approve it and then it goes to QA, and then if QA denies it, it goes to marketing, but if they approve it, it goes to live. You can set up all sorts of complicated workflow processes. There's tools for exporting your content as XML, so you can pull it into a computer-aided translation tool if you're working on a large internationalization project. Ways to distribute your site as static HTML for a content delivery network, so on and so forth. So we sell these larger enterprise tools, and then we do some project work as well. And that is the company behind concrete5. Now I'm going to show you a little bit of how the editing experience in concrete5 works. So this is a demo that you can do yourself. I'm just coming to concrete5.org and clicking Get Started. And just give us a quick site name. We're going to provision what we call a simple site, which is a locked down concrete5 install. You can't get at the source of this, but it'll at least give you pretty good experience as to what the editing interface is like. and you can start to customize things to your tastes. Okay, so we've just logged in to this brand new concrete5 site. And you can see it's got some sample content in there. We just give you a kind of starting point theme that has some example page layouts. And what makes concrete5 jump apart right at a glance is this in-context editing. And we really started with this and have tried to build it from the bottom up to really lend itself towards this kind of see something, change something experience. So if I'm on this page and I want to change this text out here, I just pop the page in edit mode by clicking this pencil icon. And now anything that I have permissions to change highlights green when I roll over it. I'm going to go ahead and edit this block. And here I am typing right in the page. I can do some basic formatting, which should feel pretty normal to anyone who's worked with a computer. And get things looking the way I like. And I'll hit save on this block. And I'm back to previewing these changes in the page. If I want to make them live, I just go to the pencil. I'll put a version comment on this. And I'm going to publish these changes live. That's it. I just updated the website. I didn't have to FTP files somewhere. There wasn't some additional batch processing that happened or final publish step. It's see something, change something, just that easy. It's not limited to just content though. concrete5 is a powerful application framework. So if I put the page in edit mode and I want to change this form, I can just click that. And now we're in the form block. It doesn't let you edit it right on the page because it's got a bunch of options, but it does it in an overlay. And I'll pick some different form elements here. We'll do a select box. Make sure we go ahead and add this question. And this is a simple form builder. There's more powerful ones in the marketplace, but you can see I can kind of change the order of things and preview what the form looks like. Maybe change the thank you message, so on and so forth. There we go. I just changed this form, added an element. I'll make a comment, publish this, and now I've changed functionality on the page. So it really is very easy. It's just like moving blocks around. Anyone can figure this out. Now, if you do something you don't like, you don't need to worry. concrete5 is an enterprise-ready application suite, so we've got versions built right in. You can see this blue version is the live one, but I could pick 2 earlier versions and compare them. Tab between them side by side. There it is before we change the text. Here's the text changed. I could roll back to an earlier version if I just wanted to approve this page. And now anyone visiting the public site will see this earlier version, but as an admin, I'll see the most recent version of the page. All right, so since I'm logged in, I'm going to get a message here. It says, hey, this is a page, you're looking at a newer version of this page than the public does. I'll show you what I mean. If I bring this page up in a different browser, so this is Firefox. I haven't logged into the site in Firefox, and you can see we're still looking at that original version of the page. So version control is built right in. You don't really have to think about it. We just serve the correct version of the page to the type of visitor visiting. Adding new pages to your site is just as intuitive. So what we have found is there's really 2 modes of thinking when you're adding content. One is focused on the content itself. Look, I know I need to write this up. I'll worry about formatting later. I just want to start writing. Basically, let me run my word processor. And the other mode is more of a thinks about formatting and data type first. All right, I need to send a fax. Where is that fax cover sheet? I want to post a job to our job board. How do I do that? So we have one way of adding pages, but it's got 2 different modes that kind of lend themselves towards those user experiences. So I'm going to click the panels up here and go to Pages. And you can see this is the Pages panel, and we've got our little site tree here. This is how we organize the site in concrete5, and the types of pages we can add. Now I'm going to go ahead and add an empty page. So this really lends itself well towards the I just want to start writing crowd. I've got a empty page in edit mode. I can add some blocks. I'm going to add a content block here. And here I am writing away. It's just that easy. And I'm going to call this column 1. The reason I'm going to call this column 1 is it doesn't take a lot of playing around with this before you realize I'd like to do a little bit of formatting. And I'm going to add a layout. So concrete5 version 7 is responsive and is aware of the grid systems that you use in your themes. So this theme was made using Twitter Bootstrap. And so if I add a couple of columns, you'll see it splits them. And if I try to resize them, it uses breakpoints. It will limit me to the built-in breakpoints of the theme. And this will keep everything aligned and consistent and generally help your client keep their site looking good over time, even as they add stuff that they maybe never expected to in the first place. So we're going to go ahead and move this content block into column 1. Let's add a content block into column 3 as well. And I'm going to put an image here in the middle. Concrete5 keeps track of all the assets that you use on the front end in this file manager, which we'll come back to in a minute. Okay, so this looks good enough. I'd like to publish this. I can't yet because I never gave the page a name or told concrete5 where it belongs in the site tree. So I'm going to call it test page. I'm going to put it right underneath home and publish this page live. All right, so we now have a new page on the website. And what I wanted to show you is as I pull this down and resize this browser, you will see right there, the image swaps out with a smaller version. Happens again there. If I get small enough, now it thinks I'm on a phone, and it actually has stacked column 1 on top of column 2, which contains the image on top of column 3. So this website is going to stay responsive as the client edits it over time. In fact, the content management system itself is responsive. But you can see, you can build these templates in a way that your client's site will look great, it'll stay mobile friendly, and you won't have to get in there and design a new page type for every possible thing they do. In fact, I can come back here to settings, do mobile preview, and see exactly what this will look like on a phone or on a tablet. All sorts of different form factors can be put in here. So that's adding organic content. I promised you I would tell you how we add strongly typed content as well. Now in this example site, we've got a team page. Inside of that, we've got a career section. We talk about how awesome we are, how great it is to work here. And then there's this navigation that lists the short descriptions of those jobs, and it has an apply now link, which takes me into a detailed job post. This has got some titles and a side nav and generally stuff that we wouldn't expect a client to just drag and drop in the right place. That would become a big mess. So if I want to add a new job post, I come up to the pages panel, and you can see there is a job posting page type. And when I click that, it blows me right by edit mode, and it puts me into Composer. Now, Composer is your more traditional form-based content management system approach. You can see it already has auto-saved as I type, so this is going to keep a draft for me. You can use custom attributes to build out all sorts of different types of data here. So these could be checkboxes and drop downs and date selectors, and if you're a developer, anything that you want. And we can still do rich text editing right here in the page. But I want to go ahead and publish this. And you can see it's now made this page. It put the headers, has the back to careers nav. It's showing up on the top of this, so concrete5 is aware of where it should be, and it's added everywhere. And I was able to do that through a form, so it's something you can easily train someone on. But if you, as the site administrator, come back here and say, oh, this looks like a wreck, I can still pop this page in edit mode, and I can still select this text, and I can still fix this. So really the best of both worlds. Strongly typed content where you need it, and ability to kind of make it from a centralized dashboard, and in context editing to come clean up the mess as you notice it emerging. Real quickly, We do have a dashboard. Sometimes there are things that just need to happen centrally. So I've already mentioned that concrete5 manages your site with a tree. If you go to sitemap, you can grab that tree and do stuff with it. So if I want to move where test page shows up in my site, I just drag and drop it. I just moved it from being right underneath the home to being in the team section, and it'll show up in the drop down underneath team in the main nav. Concrete5 keeps track of all the files that you use on the front end of your website in the file manager. This lets us do versioning and permissions on these files. So if you want to do something like have a pricing PDF, link to it all over your website, and then next year if prices change, you just come in here, hit replace, and that file will be replaced and will serve up the correct one anytime it's been linked to. You can extend the properties that you keep track of on these images. So we could add a bunch of organizational information. You add that drop down from the job section here, so HR could own this picture. You could also do that with permissions or file sets. There's an awful lot of ways to approach problems in concrete5. Version 7 lets you do these responsive images that I showed you earlier. So there are all the different breakpoints that it was cycling between as I resized the browser. And if I want to actually come in here and say, you know what, for a thumbnail this small, when we squish the image down, we kind of lose the essence of it. So I'd rather just kind of manually grab just like that. Let's just do that. That feels like this image. It's just not squished. So to concrete5, this is still one image. We've just got these different form factors for it. And we could use that as a developer in our theme in all sorts of different ways. Concrete5 has a powerful users and permissions model under the hood. So you can explore all that from the members section. There's a conversations functionality. It lets you add guest books to pages and kind of encourage online discussion. There is centralized reporting. So here's that form we were playing with earlier. And if we had submitted it, it would show up here and we could export it as CSV. Concrete5 lets you do workflow. So single step workflow is included in the core. You can trip an event when something happens, fire off an email when someone approves a page, that kind of thing. Multi-step workflow is an enterprise extension. Stacks and blocks are ways to centralize content. And there are quite a few systems and settings. In conclusion, Concrete5 is a great tool if you have content and you can't always predict what that content is going to be. It's a powerful application framework that any developer should love to work with, but it will really give you an editing experience that will make the site a pleasure to run over time.